Dragon Ballers, if you're looking to buy Dragon Ball Super or One Piece sealed product, make sure to get 5% off using my link to Mystic TCG down in the description. You can also sell cards to them using their Facebook link, which is also down in the description. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. We are back again with Zenkai Dash Pack reveals, and today we are talking about the cards they're throwing at Green Unison Cooler. Now, I find this to be a really funny coincidence because obviously Bandai probably decided on the decks they were going to support probably around like 6, maybe 4 months ago, something along those lines, because the way the cards are developed, they're just developed ahead of time for, you know, future releases. And it just so happens that Green Cooler did really well at Oceania Nationals, coming in second place and pairing really well seemingly into Crimson Goku. Now, even with the hits to blue, I do think Crimson still looks like a really strong deck. The hits on the leader were kind of fake, to be honest. Like, I don't think that really changes much with the leader at all. The hits to God Ceiling were more detrimental, but I don't think that specific hit really influences the specific Crimson and Cooler matchup. So let's say before, like, maybe Cooler was favored like 55 or 60% against Crimson. Maybe with these new cards, it's even higher, and with the hits to red, Green might be in an even better spot. So this is a really interesting time to get Cooler support with how successful it's been and how Green looks to be positioned coming up. But anyways, we'll talk about what the cards do in today's video. If you guys are new here, though, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you guys want to support the channel, there are tons of ways to do so down in the description. But today, guys, if you want to buy or pre-order any cards we talk about in today's video, it does really help me out if you were to use my link in the description to TCG Player. Anyways, let's jump right on into this. And as we've been doing with the Zenkai support, we'll cover what the decks do. I did do the in-depth deck profile, though, for the second place Oceania finish. So if you guys want to see a more recent Cooler deck profile, definitely go check out that video. I'll link it down in the description. Anyways, we have the leader here, Cooler. Add one card from light to your hand. When this card attacks, you may draw one card. If you don't, play up to one Green Unison card with a specified cost of 1 from your hand with a marker on it. So this is something we don't see super often anymore, and that's a leader that has to take life when you swing. A lot of leaders either don't take life when they swing, or they have the option to do so. Cooler has to, though, so not attacking seems like it could be kind of bad for the leader. But what's funny is, if you guys go watch that deck profile, it was mentioned that it was actually a pretty strong strategy to just not swing at Crimson. Yes, you will be kind of restricting the amount of cards in your own hand, but you're not allowing them to cycle through their sands by pitching them with the leader effect, which also sets up their Awaken. So that does seem like a vital strategy, especially in a green deck where you might be poking at the hand a good amount. So yeah, not attacking, not giving life, not giving them instances to play in the combo step is a, you know, pretty possible line of play. Just seems weird with this leader because, you know, again, you get advantage from attacking, but still something you might want to consider. Auto once per turn, when a Green Unison's placing your drop, draw one card. I know it doesn't say this on the card, but it has to be a Unison from the Unison area going to the drop, just so you guys are aware. Awaken relies 4 or less, you may draw one card, untap an energy and flip over. And then on the back side of this card attacks, you may draw one. If you don't, play up to one Green Unison with a specified cost of 1 from your hand with a marker on it. And then auto once per turn, same thing. If a Unison goes from Unison area to the drop, draw one card. And then activate battle, you can essentially combo with your Unisons. So yeah, Unison-centered deck, as you can tell from the leader. And we have the top end here as well, which I want to talk about. Golden Frieza, Newfound Might, which got some direct support in the Zenkai stuff. We have a 3-cost Unison with Empower Green for 4, dual attack, and a blocker. So this card pairs great with Dormant Potential Unleashed because you can Dormant, block, and that's one attack that you just stopped outright. You can also counterattack with this. I don't think the counterattack comes up all that often on this card, though, because one, I think Cooler is actually a rather aggressive deck in some ways. Even though, again, like I mentioned before, you can kind of play the stally game by not attacking your opponent, but if it calls for it, you can actually swing a lot with just 15k Unisons and whatnot. But yeah, with this thing, you might want to cast it offensively to just rip the -4 right away. But also, the counterattack doesn't ignore barriers, so it gets kind of awkward to try and use this on your opponent's turn when they could just play around it by probably playing barrier guys, which a lot of decks have access to nowadays. Except for red, I guess, but I digress. Anyways, the -4. This card gains 10k power and triple strike for the turn, and then switches card to active mode at the end of the turn. So you get to triple strike 30ks, and then you get to restand it for blocker. And then Cell Max. This was actually put to great usage on the Oceania Finals stream. Or not just the Finals, but really just all the stream games where we saw Cooler played. Because what you can do is, like, on a turn 3, you can slam Golden Frieza, get your Empower, get your -4, swing twice for 30k triple strike, and then with that 1 energy from Awakening, you can slam Cell Max, swing for a 40k quad. That's a lot of damage to have to stop, especially if, let's say, you went second, right? That's a really, really high amount of pressure. So I do think Cell Max is probably the SCR for this deck, but you got other options. You've got all the black SCRs, of course. You maybe have access to Cell Xeno because you're probably playing the Goku and Piccolo Faded Rivals, which gives you 12 energy of battle cards right off the bat, just by themselves. But yeah, Cell Max does seem quite strong in this deck. Anyways, moving into some new cards though, we have King Cold, leader of the Frieza clan, 4 drop 20k, unique barrier blocker. That's always a great set of keywords to see next to each other, barrier and blocker. Permanent, for each unison in your drop, each green unison, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. So he is a potential 1 drop because he has 1 green specified cost, and once you have 3 unisons in the drop, he is a 1 drop battle card, and that's not too hard to meet, to be honest. Like, this deck does cycle through its unisons rather quickly because every time you do, you draw a card, so that's really good there. Auto once per turn, if your leader is a Frieza clan card at the end of your turn, or when this card activates blocker, switch this card to active mode. Okay, so you get to swing with this thing and then restand it and then double block during the opponent's turn. This card's looking really strong so far. Auto, when this card activates its blocker skill, use one of your mono green cards with 5,000 combo from your drop in a combo with its skills negated for the battle. That is not a once per turn auto, so when you double block, you get 2 Z energy, and this is also blocking for 25k because you're comboing those cards on the block. That is a really big blocker for your opponent to have to get through, and this is another card that pairs very nicely with Dormant Potential Unleashed because, again, same thing as Newfound Might. You dormant, you block with Newfound Might, and then the next attack, you block with King Cold. That's a really great pair of cards to throw with Dormant Potential Unleashed. Yeah, that's really strong. The only downside of this card is that we've been getting way more barrier removal as of late. So, like, any mid-range deck can just play Smoke Dragon. Green has no shortage of barrier removal. Even blue has a good amount of barrier removal. So, yeah, I mean, I will say, I guess your opponent's gonna have to invest a minimum of 2 energy to kill this. That's like more in green mirror matches. In other colors, I guess 2 as well with Smoke Dragon. So, I mean, it's only your 1 energy investment typically because you're probably not going to play this for any more than 1 energy. The other thing too is, like, I think it's a little hard sometimes for Cooler to get battle cards into the drop area because you cycle through unison so well, but you don't necessarily cycle through battle cards all that well. But I'm sure that's not like too big of a problem. I think this thing's biggest problem is going to be like the amount of barrier removal that's in the game now, especially with Smoke Dragon. But still, I mean, this does seem like a very strong card. You can't just say it's a bad card because it can die. Like, any card in the game can die by that logic. Does seem like a very solid card. Then we have Cooler Cruel Commander. So we have a new 1-cost unison for the strategy. We have Empower Green 3, which is standard across all the unisons. Auto limit 1, if this card has 3 or more markers on it. When this card's played, add 1 green card from your drop to your Z energy, and this card gains dual attack for the turn. Then +1 burst 1. This card gets plus 10k for the turn. Okay, I like how this card just fixes a lot of those issues I was talking about before. So, activate main burst 1 is just giving you a chance to put a battle card in your drop, I guess. I mean, that could obviously hurt you. Like, you could mill a super combo, you can mill your SCR, you can mill a key card that you need. So it's kind of risky, but I mean, it is one of the ways of getting battle cards in your drop when this deck, like I said, cycles through unisons way better than it cycles through battle cards. The auto is pretty interesting too. Making a Z energy out of any green card from your drop is cool, like out of a unison, out of an extra card, out of a battle card, obviously. That is also really good. And then dual attack, just swing twice at face, swing twice at a unison, whatever. That lends more to the aggressive strategy that I was mentioning the deck kind of has at its disposal. So yeah, another home run card. Like, I don't think I've read a card in these Zenkai Dash Pack videos yet that's just been bad. Like, that's really awesome to say because a lot of the anniversary box stuff, which through legacy support different things, had a lot of really bad cards, but these cards so far are all just solid across the board, I gotta say. And then we are finishing up with Golden Frieza Return of the Destroyer. Now we have a 2-cost with a 4 Z energy cost Z battle card. 4 Z energy is very expensive. That might be the highest Z energy cost we had to date on a Z card in the game. That's a lot. But I mean, we just saw a unison that makes Z energy. We saw a King Cold that can theoretically make 2 Z energy per turn. So maybe it's not all that bad. But anyways, what does this thing do? Deflect double strike, permanent for each green unison in your drop. Reduce the Z energy cost of this card to your Z deck by 1, up to 2. Okay, so it's actually more than likely going to be a 2 Z energy 2 drop. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Auto once per turn if it's your turn. When your green unison is placed in your drop, choose one of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier, KO it, and this card gets plus 5k for the turn. Alright, some barrier removal. Play this thing on 2, and then you can use your leader's ability to free play a unison, and that will trigger this to get a barrier removal as well as a plus 5k in power for a 25k swing. Super solid card once again. Activate main once per turn for 2. If your leader is a green Frieza clan card and you have 4 or more energy, play 1 green unison with a specified cost of 3 or less from your hand with a marker on it. Okay, so a few things here. This is kind of interesting. You can play Newfound Might, but you only play it with 1 marker on it. If you had a unison and play prior, you have Empower 4, so I guess you could get it up to 5 markers and you can -4. Okay, that makes sense. That's pretty cool. This doesn't specify Newfound Might Unison though, and it's also a green Frieza clan card. So I'm kind of seeing some potential to play this in green starter Frieza, and you can play like Dark Broly Unison as well. That's kind of interesting too. Yeah, that seems like a pretty cool idea. But yeah, I was just kind of thinking through the matter of playing this in cooler, where like, can you actually resolve the -4 on your Newfound Might? And it seems like the answer is yes. But unless you play this on turn 4, again, like I talked about in the last video, I personally don't expect cards without barrier to live more than 1 turn. But if it does, that's great. You can cheat out your Newfound Might for 1 less energy, so that's pretty solid. But yeah, unless you play this on 4, you're probably not going to pull off the activate main if you play this on like 2 or 3, for example. But overall, another solid card. I really can't complain about any of these cards. They all seem really good. Cooler already seems well positioned coming off of the Oceania finish there. Really interested to see what this deck does. But anyways, guys, that's my thoughts on it. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.